throws, and it's intercepted. It's intercepted by number 22. That's Clifton. He's got the left edge. Turns on the Jets. Still on his feet. Touchdown, Calaveras. What a play. Up to a running back. That's Ferrante over to the right side. He comes back up the middle. He's got room. One man to beat. He turns on the Jets. There he goes. Touchdown, Calaveras. What a play. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Let's Talk Football with Coach Val. I'm your host, Gil Valtierra, the voice of Calaveras football. It's game night, baby. Your Calaveras Redhawks are on the road to face Riverbank High School in Riverbank for their first Motherlode League game of the year. My guest today is none other than Head Varsity Football Coach at Calaveras High, Coach Manny Mossa. Coach, thanks as always for being here, spending some time with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You bet. So, hey, let's go over the week in the of the Calaveras faithful and Calaveras football and what happened around the horn here. We'll start off with the youth program. Coach Mills, Greg Mills of the junior novice program, they went down to Galt High School to play the Galt junior program down there. And like always, 40 or more points. That junior novice team is on fire. They beat Galt 48-13. Looks like Tucker Mills had 6 tackles and a touchdown. Gino Varney had 5 tackles and a touchdown. Jax Watson had 3 tackles and 2 touchdowns. Bronson Jenkins, number 8, 2 tackles and a forced fumble and a touchdown. Maxwell Green, 4 tackles, a forced fumble recovery. Trent Hughes had a tackle and a touchdown. Brennan House had a fumble recovery. Gunnar Lefebvre had a tackle and a touchdown. Thomas Steinhoff had a fumble recovery. Lucas Smith had a sack. And overall, big win for that junior novice program.
Yeah, sounds like everybody got involved in 7-on-7 again. So, a lot of points, a lot of speed on that team.
A lot of points, a lot of speed. Number 8, Jenkins at quarterback. I've seen him throw it around. I've seen him run it around. And he's impressed me as far as, what he's doing out there. You see a lot of the same names, even at multiple levels. A lot of, families out there with brothers and stuff playing at different levels.
Yeah. No, that's Calaveras football for you. Most families don't get too far away from the football field. As long as they got one in there, usually get a few more.
There you go. You got to love it. In the novice program, Coach Sam Arledge sent me over his info. Once again, they were victorious 40-0 over Galt. And it looked like offensively, Calaveras started off slow on the first drive. But after that, they settled in and scored on every possession after that. Number 7, Ethan Mossa, who was our guest last week. He had 10 carries for 145 yards and 2 touchdowns. Should have been 3. I was there. One was called back on the opening play of the game. But he did have 2 touchdowns, 10 carries, 14 and a half yards per carry. You got to like that, Coach. O-line's doing real good. Big holes. He's not getting touched till he's 5, 6, 7 yards down the field. And he does a pretty good job of making sure he's north and south, getting up the field, gaining yards, not stopping, not trying to juke, and I'll give him that. He does a good job there. Excellent work. Looks like Hayden Shrillo had 6 carries for 49 yards. Levi Lim, 6 carries for 46 yards and 2 touchdowns himself. Gregory Mills, 5 carries, 20 yards and a touchdown. The offensive line was reconfigured this week and looked to dominate as a new group. Lucas Mellinger, Roman Armis, Landon Nunez, Braden Rowe, Landon Carne Asada is what they're calling them now. I love it. Hey, they got a taco at the high school. We got a carne asada at the youth program. I'm getting hungry, Coach.
Right.
And then Cooper, Watson, all on that newly formed offensive line. Coach Arledge says they did a fantastic job. Defensively, many names couldn't be mentioned because there were so many group tackles. It was a great defensive performance. Many kids stepped up. He says 5 kids from the rosters were missing. Kids got sick, injuries, those types of things. But with all of that said, defensively, Ethan Mossa, 2 interceptions with 72 return yards, one of which was a 46-yard pick 6 for a touchdown. Tell us about that play, Coach.
Yeah, he did it a few weeks ago, and he did it again right before the half. The Galt was trying to get the ball down the field, try to throw the ball down the field, and he was able to stay on top of the receiver and get underneath the ball, and then it was off to the races after that.
Once he caught it, he saw open field. He said, "See you later."
Yeah, and it was really cool is he had help. He had guys running down the field trying to block, trying to catch up, and things like that. It was pretty cool to see at that level.
You bet. A lot of fun to watch. Braden Hughes had 4 tackles for losses. Braden Rowe had a sack. Landon Nunes had a sack and maybe it looks like a fumble recovery. Can't tell.
Yeah. Yep.
Tyler West, 2 tackles for losses. Landon Carne Asada had 3 tackles for losses. And James Fox had an onside kick recovery. So good job to that novice team winning 40-0. Coach, you were on the sidelines. Tell us a little bit about that game.
Yeah, it started off, it was a little scary. We're missing 3 starters. And, you start missing guys that are always there, guys that are getting the first team reps and they know what's going on, one we expected, 2 were sick day of. And so Coach Arledge had to make a few changes on the defensive side of the ball, but we had a lot of kids step up, and that was kind of what we told them before the game, hey, we're missing these guys. That means whoever's here, they got to step up and they got to play. And they did, Pirillo played a very good game, both sides of the ball, offense and defense, blocked very well, ran the ball very hard. Defensively, he was all over the place, did real well.
He's a player that's 99, right?
Yeah.
It's funny to watch him just play so great defensively, and then all of a sudden at 99, get in the backfield. You normally don't see 99 in the backfield.
Yeah, how about when you give him the football?
That's
right.
Right.
That's a weird thing. But yeah, man, a lot of the kids stepped up, and Galt gave us some fits there at the beginning. It was a little rough, at the beginning. Things weren't working. We had a couple of mistakes, and but the guys settled in again. They settled down and settled in, and started moving the football. And defensively, we're pretty tough. The kids really understand what we want to do. They understand our defense. They understand their job. They understand where the help is. They understand, they really, really smart kids playing on the defense. And I do believe we did. We were talking. I think we did give up a touchdown towards the end. I think it was a 40-6. But even then, we had a lot of subs in,
right,
and they were getting the job done up until that one play.
They had that one pretty fast kid, I think, got the edge and just kind of used his speed to get around the corner.
We had a breakdown on the edge, and they got there. But yeah, man, overall, I'm happy with the kids. We're the weather's changing. We're getting later in the season. We're 5-0 now, and at some point, the target's it's on our back. And these guys got to realize it. They got to know it, and we got to make sure we play our style of football, our brand of football every week, because everyone's going to give us their best shot.
The weather is changing for the better, for the good.
Exactly.
This is football weather.
Yes, it is.
Football is meant to be played in the fall, and when it starts to cool down, that's when Calaveras football heats up. All right, so let's move on to the JV program. Coach Vince Montgomery sent his highlights for the second week in a row after their slow start. They were victorious, 24-0 over Galt as well. His highlights were number 22, Carter Lim at running back, had 4 carries. Get this, folks, 4 carries for 175 yards rushing and 2 rushing touchdowns. I mean, what is that per carry, Coach?
That's not bad.
That's just get that kid the ball more, I guess. 4 carries, 175 yards.
Yeah, I'm wondering how there's only 24 points there. That's a lot of ground to cover.
Great job to number 22, Carter Lim. Number 21, Mason Williams, had 7 carries, 106 yards rushing in a rushing touchdown. Excellent job to him. Number 44, Luca Varney, had 3 carries for 10 yards and a rushing touchdown. He says the Galt's defense was tenacious and big in the middle, but the O-line held their own, and that their speed on the outside runs got the W for this week for the offense and for the team. Defensively, number 44, Luca Varney, at middle linebacker, had 14 tackles and a sack in one game. That boy was moving all over the field.
That's a lot. That's a lot of tackles.
You bet. Number 10, Bryce Patello at outside linebacker, had 8 tackles. Number 8, Daniel Steinhoff at middle backer, had 6. Number 86, Dion Willingham, a defensive lineman, had 4 tackles. Number 13, Levi Weldon, a defensive end, had 4 tackles. Number 21, Mason Williams, an outside backer, had 4 tackles. Number 81, Waylon Hill, a defensive end, had 3 tackles. Galt had a very fast and pass-heavy offense, but the defense stepped up and shut them out and not allowing any Galt touchdowns. Coach, comments on the JV win.
Well, it looks like JV settling in. You know, had, like you said, had first 3 weeks were a little rough, but they're settling in, playing their style of football, and yeah, I mean, I did see a little bit of the Galt trying to throw the football there at the JV level, and hey, man, that's not easy to defend if they can do it. You know, if they can throw that ball around, Galt that is, if they can throw that ball around, that can make things pretty tough. But it looks like they did fine. They threw up a goose egg there, so I mean, I like what I'm seeing. You know, they're getting better week in and week out.
Hey, 2 in a row is a winning streak, Vince. Mm-hmm. Keep up the good work. So moving on to the varsity youth program. The varsity program continued their undefeated streak and beat Galt 25-14 or 24-14. I have 2 conflicting reports here, but we'll say 24-14 either way. Offensively, looks like Austin Locke had 11 carries for 240 yards and 2 touchdowns. Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot of yards per carry there.
11 carries, 240 yards. I've said it before earlier in a podcast. If you haven't gone out at Frank Meyer Field in San Andreas on a Saturday night to watch number 5 run the football, you ought to, because it's quite entertaining. Timewell had an 81-yard touchdown return on the opening kickoff. He's back to his special teams ways because he's a specialty at that. 2 carries for 15 yards and another touchdown. Orlando had 6 carries for 48 yards. Atkins had 2 carries for 16 yards. Moore 1 carry for 5, and Verduzco 1 carry for 3. Defensively, leading the Calaveras defense was Titan Grant with 2 tackles. 2 tackles for a loss and a blocked punt. Austin Locke had 5 tackles, a quarterback sack, and a forced fumble. Kenan Moore had 4 tackles and 2 tackles for a loss. Jay Wright had 3 tackles and 1 fumble recovery. David Devich had 4 tackles. Traxton Gobble had a tackle. Matthew Timewell had 2 tackles. Mason Moyers had a fumble recovery. Zayden Orlandi had a tackle. And Cade Steele had a tackle, all contributing in a Calaveras victory, 25-14. Coach, comments on that game?
Yeah, you know, that I know Calaveras jumped on them pretty quick. You know, I'm pretty sure I think they were up 20. I could be wrong. I think they were up 24-0 in the first half. So they may have subbed down in the second half. But yeah, I mean, that team's a fun team to watch. You know, I mean, the O-line gets off the ball. They're big, fast too. You know, they got some fast guys on that O-line, and they get into guys, and love the way Locke runs the football. You know, he's nasty.
Yeah.
You know, he's not going to tiptoe around you. He's going to run you over on his way to the goal line. You know, that's his idea. That's what he envisions every time he grabs the football. I love that. That's Calaveras football running back right there.
Yeah, I was talking to Coach Paulson before the game, And I asked him, hey, as a former coach, of course, the first thing I was like, height, weight, 40 times, whatever his numbers, like, how big is this kid? And I think he said, 150, 160. And I said, boy, he runs the ball like he's 185, 190, because he runs it strong, he runs it hard, and he runs it with some speed. And guys are having a lot of problems trying to bring him to the ground.
Yep.
Well, I'll tell you what, before we move on to the JV at the high school, for all your youth program, the junior novice, JV, varsity, 2 weeks in a row that you've swept the other team, the whole entire Calaveras County and the Calaveras faithful sends this out to all of you. Well deserved. All right, so let's move on to the high school. The junior varsity high school team traveled over to Jackson to play Argonaut. Unfortunately, Argonaut ended up winning that game 35-7. Looked like, they played them a little bit close, but in the end, the turnovers and the mistakes really got the best of them.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. I don't get a chance to watch them. We're usually getting ready for hours, but it seemed like everything was tight early. And like you said, mistakes happen, and Argonaut capitalized off of them. And so, our JV team's got to settle down, figure out, go back to the drawing board. What worked, what didn't work, fix the problems, clean some things up, man, and get back to it next week. Got to have a short memory.
You bet. Absolutely. And then moving on to the varsity game, the high school varsity team, Calaveras went down to Argonaut to play the Argonaut Mustangs on their home field and absolutely romped them 49-10. I called the game for KVGC Radio. It was a lot of fun calling that game. And I'll tell you what, folks, if you weren't there, you should have been there. If you were there, you saw and understood the complete dominance that offensive line had. They came out from play one and just said, this is how it's going to go tonight. And we're moving guys around, and that offense was methodical every time they touched the ball. Before I go into any stats for that game, Coach, comments on it.
I think you said it, man. Our everybody, I'll tell you, before the game, I was a little worried. I'm not sure if we're focused. A little bit of laughing, a little bit of joking, and as soon as that team hit the field, when we got on the field, it was laser focus to a point where I was like, okay, I'll just stand aside here, call the plays, you guys do your thing, and man, from the start, O-line, D-line, running backs, receivers, everybody was full speed, full throttle, just getting after it, and it caught me a little off guard, to be honest with you, because that's a good football team over there. I know they had a few injuries throughout the game as well, and that can always kind of impede your production as well. But man, it didn't matter who we had in, we just kept moving the ball forward, and we kept stopping them on the defensive side of the ball. And couldn't be more proud of the guys.
Yeah,
honestly, they worked for that one. They worked all week long, and once we stepped on the field, man, it was all business.
Yeah, just some backstory on it. Last year, we were at Argonaut. Playoff implications for the game because you needed at least 4 wins to get into the playoffs. So both teams were trying to get that last playoff spot. It was Argonaut's homecoming. The whole Coach Hickman used to coach at Calaveras storyline, and it was a close game. Final score: Calaveras won the game 26-21, but it wasn't decided until late in the fourth quarter.
Right.
It could have went either way. And so coming into this year, all right, a little bit of a different dynamic. We're not in the same league anymore, but it was still their homecoming again. Mm-hmm. You still had the Coach Hickman dynamic. And I thought, well, this could be a pretty tight game still. And for the Calaveras O-line to come out there and just basically, what the call I did on the radio was, it was like a heavyweight prize fighter coming out and just rocking a guy so hard that for the rest of the fight, the guy wasn't quite the same. He was just trying to gather his wits and just try not to get knocked out. And it just seemed like Argonaut from that moment on was on their heels, just trying to slow the bleeding.
Yeah. I will give credit, man. They got some guys on that Argonaut football team that never gave up, no matter what the score was. Pretty easy to give up when the score is 49-10.
Sure,
it's easy to go in the tank, and they had some guys that continued to go out there and play. props to Coach Hickman there, making sure, he's got some guys that are ready to go. They're a better team than 49-10.
You bet.
But we had their number, I think.
So looking at some of the stats for the game, Curran, the quarterback, never threw a pass.
Nope.
He just had to, keep the ship moving forward. Clifton, he's been a weapon everywhere, receiving the ball, rushing the ball. Not much in rushing. 4 for 6 rushing yards. He had 1 catch. Actually, it was incomplete, so he had 1 target, so 0 for 1 in receiving. But on the defensive side of the ball, he had 3 interceptions. 1 very crucial one right before the half when it looked like Argonaut was going to go in for a score and perhaps try to change the momentum of the game right before going into the half. And he stepped in front of one and said, and he fought for the ball and came down with that pick.
We trust him. He was on their number 1 receiver.
Yeah.
Their receiver. Pretty sure he had more of the passes thrown to him, almost 4 or 5 times as many as the other receiver. So we knew he was going to get the ball. Big, tall guy, fairly fast. And besides the one catch in the end zone there, I feel like Ryan just really shut him down.
Yeah.
I think he had 3 picks plus 2 balls, pass deflected. So,
right.
Couldn't ask for any more than that from your corner.
It's just an interesting thing to so like he's such a weapon. Not just offensively now, but defensively, he does such a good job. And we're on a night where, the spotlight offensively went to someone else. He still got it on the defensive side of the ball and found a way to have his name called.
Yeah.
So what a great football player. Ferrante, number 19, had 19 rushes for 161 yards and 2 touchdowns. Spur, the fullback, number 32, 12 carries for 133 yards and had 3 rushing touchdowns. That's huge. Enrique Taco Hernandez, number 7, rushed for 7 times for 81 yards and a touchdown. Paulson, big number 33, carried it 3 times for 42 yards rushing. And Ayala carried it 3 times for 21 yards and a touchdown. Total rushing yards, 444 yards on the ground. Pretty impressive day against a pretty good football team, and just pretty much, ran it right down their throats.
Yeah. We ran our stuff.
Right.
We didn't get too tricky. We ran our stuff, and when the offensive line is able to push guys off the ball, 1, 2, 3 yards, it just opens things up so much for the running backs, and even after that, the running backs, the receivers, the tight ends, everybody was blocking downfield. 1 block, they'd knock a guy down, go to another guy. Like I was very, very impressed with our blocking. People overlook blocking and tackling. That's what that wins football games there.
That's the core.
And our blocking was the best it's been all year long. We were getting on dudes. We were driving them. We were, we were putting guys on their back. We were using our shoulder pads. Just all of the above. And it couldn't have been more proud of the guys, because we did it. It was a good football team. And we were able to move them off the ball. We were able to block them down the field. And the backs, they did really well. As soon as they seen space, man, they hit it. They didn't slow down.
Yeah. Great overall team win. Congratulations, Coach. And hey, for all our listeners, after a game like that, 444 yards on the ground, usually at this time we give you some player interviews, and we're going to do that. But we're going to interview the offensive line coach, Coach Anderson, and we're going to interview the entire offensive line all together as a group, and we'll do that right after a word from our sponsors. Ready to transform your backyard into an outdoor paradise? Look no further than the Paver Company, specializing in hardscaping, landscaping, outdoor living spaces, turf, decking, and more. They are your one-stop shop for all your yard upgrade needs. As a family-owned and operated business with over 25 years' experience, the Paver Company takes pride in their top-notch craftsmanship. Get started today with a free estimate and custom design. Make your yard the envy of the neighborhood. Visit us at thepavercompany.com or call us at 916-222-8844 to schedule your consultation. That's 916-222-8844. Let's turn your backyard dreams into reality with the Paver Company. All right, welcome back. So, as promised, went down and spoke with the entire offensive line for the Calaveras Varsity Redhawks. They are Jorn Bowerson, Nathan Buddy Kavanaugh, Logan Converse, Jacob Ratto, Jared Frazier, Edgardo Espiritu, and Corey Castle consist of that entire offensive line that was out there on Friday night against Argonaut. I had the opportunity to sit down with those young men, and let's see what they had to say. We're on Friday night. They rushed for over 444 yards against Argonaut. Let's have them introduce themselves. Starting, if you're standing behind the quarterback and you look to that far left offensive lineman, the left tackle, that's going to be who?
Jordan Bowerson.
Okay, Jordan. And then how about the left guard?
Logan Converse.
All right. And then the center snapping the ball?
Nathan Kavanaugh.
Okay. Right guard?
Jacob Ratto.
All right. And the right tackle?
Edgardo Espiritu. Jared Frazier.
Okay. And then that last guy on the strong side, the tight end?
Corey Castle.
All right. So, first of all, guys, congratulations. I mean, 444 yards rushing against a team like Argonaut. I mean, they're no slouch. Yeah. So that's quite an accomplishment. Tell me, like last year, you guys went into Argonaut, you played them. Game wasn't decided until late into the fourth quarter. Final score was 26-21, a much closer game. This past Friday, you guys dominated 49-10. What would you feel if you played in both games? What would you feel like you felt like was the biggest difference?
I feel like this new game, we wanted it more just because last game was really close and it was a fun game. So, yeah, I think that we just wanted it more this year than last year.
Okay, so Castle, the tight end, wanted more. Jordan?
I feel like we just had our run fits down a lot better this year, and we just knew what our job was. So I think we just executed that a lot better than last year, per se.
Okay. Yeah, so I was up in the booth calling the game, and it just seemed like from play one, you guys were just firing out, getting into guys and moving them. As the game progressed, what was going through your minds as far as, like, did you feel like, was it just adrenaline, or was it, I mean, what were you feeling when it was going on? Anybody? Frazier?
I mean, each time we scored, we just got back on the ball as if it was 0-0. And, we just went down there on both sides of the ball. Defense, we kicked butt. Offense, we pushed the ball, did our plays, moved people, went 100% each time. And, we got the job done.
Nice. Buddy, you're at center. You probably more than anybody else kind of see the whole field because you're right there in the middle, snapping the ball.
Yeah.
Did you see anything different from Argonaut that the coaches were preparing you for during the week? Or did you see anything different from last year? And what did you see from that center spot as you were going through your assignments?
The coaches really had it down. Like, during practice, we practiced what they ran. It was just... they had it down. And then last year, I didn't play for varsity against Argonaut, but I played JV, and it's the same run scheme they had last year.
Right.
Yeah. And then it was just fun being there, having everyone with me. It was just great.
Nice. So at halftime, you guys were up pretty big. I think you already had 35 points up by the half.
Yeah.
I think it was 35-7 or something like that.
Yeah.
What did coaches tell you at that point when you're up 35-7 at the half? Did they just say, "Hey, just keep doing what you're doing," or
don't slow down, keep going?
Yep.
0-0.
New ball game.
New ball game. How about you, Converse? You got anything to add with that? Let's talk a little bit about this coming Friday. So you guys finished off 3-1 in preseason games. Now you've got the first Motherlode League game, and as you guys should know, once you get into league, every game's a big game now because they all count as far as playoffs and winning the Motherlode League championship. So tell me kind of what's going through your mind going into this Friday, preparing for Riverbank.
Well, just gotta you got to get all the plays ready to go, and practice like 100%, like you're playing the game. That's one big thing is every snap of the ball, you got to put in your best effort. If you don't do that, you're not going to put that effort in towards the game. So that's one thing that I've been thinking about, getting down and getting going pretty soon. So especially for league.
Excellent. Rattle, you didn't send much back there. How about a little something from you? Big game, first Motherlode League game. What do you think your focus is going to be going into that game?
Mainly just fixing my doubles with the right tackle.
Okay.
Because our doubles aren't the best, but other than that, Bulldogs and stuff like that, I think we got down.
Okay. So just keep working on what you're doing already and try to perfect it and do it even better. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I think that this year, or when league starts, we need to try and eliminate as many penalties. That's how most football games are won, just by the least amount of penalties.
Yeah, and I think everyone's a little anxious. First Mother League game, right? It's a little scary, but I think if we come in with the right headspace, we come in ready, I think we could dominate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, when you go into a Motherlode League play, this is kind of a whole new Motherlode League based on what we've been accustomed to in the past several years.
Yeah.
We don't really have any history with Riverbank, so it's kind of one of those unknowns. Typically, I coach for a very long time, as you guys know. Typically, my whole mentality is a very good football team doesn't really care who they're playing. They're going to go in there and do what they do and do it full speed and do it no matter what color jersey or who they're facing. They're going to go in there and just get their work done because it's more like a discipline, right? It's like regardless of who it is, this is what we're doing and we're going to get things done. Has the coaches talked to any of you guys about anything like that yet?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, every time we're on the ball, Anderson, our O-line coach and defensive line coach, is always like, we gotta run these plays 100%. If you don't run it 100%, it's not gonna work. So,
all-star effort.
Yeah, even if you don't know what you're doing, just go 100% to whatever you're doing.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. So when you really think about it, a whole entire football game, there's at least 100 plays that are going to be ran. Half of those are going to be on offense, right? Yeah. So you guys are on that offensive line. You're going to run 50 plus plays on that offensive line, and if every one of those got to be full speed, everything I got, that's a lot of energy. That's a lot of exertion. So when you guys are like, do you think about those moments when you're doing conditioning during the week, or is that part of your mental mindset?
Yeah, that motivates me a lot to while we're running, it's really tiring. Everyone's just breathing hard, and then it's just it comes to me like this is how it's going to be in the game. We got to get ready for the game, and it just pushes me harder to keep running as hard as I can.
Excellent. Anybody else?
Yeah, anytime we're just running, I'm so exhausted, but then I can't give up, because if I give up, the play is not going to go as planned. It's going to mess everything up. A fumble could happen. Anything could happen.
Right.
Just a single play.
I've always said that the number one thing that loses football games is mistakes on the field, and the number one cause of mistakes on the field is fatigue. Yeah. When someone's tired, they make mistakes, right? Yeah. So if all of a sudden you get your body prepared in such a manner that you ain't going to get fatigued, that means you're probably not going to make mistakes either, right? So that it all just correlates, goes hand in hand.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, any last words before we get going out there to the, all of Calaveras County listens to these podcasts and finds out, hey, what's going on with the football team?
Let's kick some Riverbank ass.
I hope Riverbank.
Yeah. I think we're really ready, and let's go stick it to them.
Yep.
All right. Calaveras football. You heard it here, folks. The starting offensive line for the Calaveras Redhawks. Again, it's Jordan Bowerson. Jared Frazier.
Nathan Kavanaugh.
Jacob Ratto.
I don't know who's going.
Corey
Castle.
You forgot your name? No, it's Corey Castle.
We are.
Edgardo Espiritu.
And Logan Converse. So you heard it here. You're probably going to hear those names a lot come Friday night as they look to keep rolling as they have been Fellas, thanks very much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Coach. So you heard it from your starting offensive line.
That's a fun bunch right there.
It is a fun bunch. It was kind of neat. Normally, I have one at a time, kind of off to the side, talking to one at a time. But they did so good together as a team. I figured, I'd interview them as a unit.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? That's one thing I'll say is they're a unit. It's a great way to put it. They're all real tight. They hang out. They all speak the same language. They're never getting down on each other, and kind of keeping each other up. Hey, we got to fix it by doing this, and very, very tight knit group.
It's awesome, and it shows when they get out there on the field. So very tight knit group. As a leader, that leader's legendary offensive line coach Scott Anderson.
Yeah.
I pulled him aside. Let's see what he had to say. All right, I'm with offensive line coach at Calaveras High School, Scott Anderson. Coach, 444 yards rushing on the ground last Friday night against Argonaut. Congratulations. What do you attribute that kind of success for your guys, just having that kind of focus all night?
I think our guys do a really good job preparing. We've got a lot of smart kids up front, and we've got some competition. So, these guys are in jeopardy of losing their position, so they're focused a little more and taking hands at tasks. You know what I mean?
Well, the competition's definitely good, right? Keeps guys working hard. I also noticed I was in the weight room with them and noticed they hang out together. They're like buddies. They all kind of hang out together. They kind of one goes to the bathroom, 4 or 5 all go together. The teamwork does that help when relate to when it's time to get out on the field to get something done?
Yeah, I think so. I truly believe so. The bathroom thing, they probably hiding a dozen donuts in there or something. Who knows? But they get along really well. They work really hard. And I concentrate on ones going against ones. That just kind of makes each other better.
You bet.
We work our asses off in the sled, in the chute every week, and I think it's paying off.
Nice. It's definitely paying off so far. So now 3-1 in the preseason, first game of league play. So it's like hit the reset button. Now you got to focus on winning league. What's the focus this week as far as going in on Friday night against Riverbank and trying to replicate the kind of success that they've been having?
Yeah, we just can't have any letdowns this week. We're coming off a big win against Argonaut. Coach Hickman used to coach over here with these boys, and they're really, really fired up. The letdown, the high, after every high comes a low, and we just don't want to trip up and make that mistake this week.
Right. So got to keep them up, keep them focused, and to play hard no matter who they're playing.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I wish you the best of luck on Friday, Coach. Keep these guys going. We love watching it.
Thanks. Go Hawks.
Yep. All right, Coach. So you heard from your offensive line coach, Scott Anderson, regarding what's going on with the line. Any comments around that?
Yeah, that's a worry that I don't have. Coach Anderson's always going to have those guys ready to go for Friday night. I will say that there is a lot of competition on this team. Especially at the O line. We have, the 5, 6 with the tight end, and we have guys for every spot if we need it, and come practice, coach has them going, like you said, going against each other, and they're all getting better because of it. You can see it.
That's a nice problem to have.
Yeah. What I see now compared to what I seen 4 or 5 weeks ago, improvement, and the good thing is we still have more room to improve, not just O-line, but the entire team. And that's a good thing. We haven't played, I don't think we played our best game yet.
All right. I also had the opportunity to sit down with the head varsity football coach at Riverbank High School, Coach Joe Pirillo, and a few of his players as well. Let's start off with Coach Pirillo and see what he had to say. Okay, so I'm with head varsity football coach at Riverbank High School, Mr. Joe Pirillo. Coach, congratulations. Started off with a 3-0 start. What would you say is, what would you attribute some of that success to have such a quick start?
It's just the fact that we're getting kids out in the summer, and we're having a lot of time getting kids used to what's expected from them, the expectations, the standard that we're trying to create. Our seniors have really set the tone, and we're just trying to keep building this in the right direction for all of them.
Sure. So, started off at 3-0 so far. Everything's been on the road. So finally this week you get to open up Motherlode League play at home, new league at home. What's the feeling like so far this week as far as amongst the players in the community to finally come back home and to have some success?
Well, it feels pretty good to have success on the road and everything. I mean, it's been a long time since Riverbank even started off the year with a win. And then the fact that we're 3-0 and both JV and varsity programs are both 3-0, it's kind of it's a little overwhelming at times. And at the same time, it's just been really fun, exciting. People are just really excited about it. But, here's your first home game, and now you got to play Calaveras. So it's like, okay, you got your feet wet a little bit, and now we're just going to throw you right on in when you hit the Motherlode. And so we got a test this week. And
sure.
We've been talking about it. Calaveras is no easy feat.
Yeah, so that was you led me right into a perfect segue of my next question. So you got your first home game, your first league game, but it's Calaveras, who's been in the league for quite some time in the Motherlode League. They went 3-1 in their preseason game. Their one loss to Ripon Christian. So what's the feeling like as far as preparation this week to knowing that you're going up maybe a couple of rungs on the ladder to prepare for a new opponent?
Well, some of the things that we've looked at this week is just that, it's been 2 years. We had an independent schedule last year. This will be, and this is what I said to the kids, this will be your toughest test in the last 2 years. Calaveras is a complete program. They're going to get it done in special teams. They're going to get it done on defense. They're going to get it done on offense. They're going to come at you with everything they got. Okay? They were upset with that Ripon Christian game. They come back and they beat Argonaut, and it was 21-0 first quarter. So it's something that you look at and you say, okay, these guys are hungry.
Right.
Our boys are hungry too.
Right.
And so it's like one of those things where, okay, boys, you beat the teams that you were supposed to beat. If you want to make a name for yourself, you got to beat the teams that you're not supposed to beat.
There you go.
And so that's where we're at right now.
Well, excellent. So I appreciate your time. Friday night, you'll see me here. I'll be calling the game for KVGC Radio on 1340 and 96.5. The podcast will release on Friday, so let your guys know so they want to listen in and hear their school being talked about. Should be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. We'll do, Coach.
All right, and good luck. Best of luck. All right, so that was Head Varsity Football Coach Joe Pirillo. Next up, he had me talk to a senior running back, linebacker, number 12, Gabriel Nesperos, that's helped them put a lot of points up on the board these past couple of weeks. Let's see what Gabriel had to say. All right, so I'm with senior running back, linebacker number 12, Gabriel Nesperos from Riverbank High School. Gabriel, first of all, congratulations on the fast start, 3-0. Now you guys are starting league play. You got Calaveras coming in for your first home game. How you feeling about Friday?
I'm feeling pretty good, confident that my team will come out and perform. It is a big match that we are going against, and I feel like my team can perform on Friday.
It looks like in the past couple of games, your offense has put up a lot of points. So you being at running back, I'm sure you're a big part of that. What do you think what's the success? Why do you feel like you guys have been putting up so many points? What's been working for you guys?
A lot of communication and us running a lot of reps. We've been able to move the ball. There has been a couple mistakes, of course, but I think us keep on doing reps and learning how to communicate each other in the front line has been helping us score a lot of points.
Sure. So anything in particular for this Friday that you're going to be focused on, being it's your first home game, probably got family coming out.
Exactly.
You guys are 3-0. Calaveras is 3-1. It's going to be on the radio, so, big game. Anything in particular, say, I'm going to focus on this week to help you get ready?
So our team has been mainly focusing on defense because we know Calaveras will hit us in the mouth when they get the ball. So we've been mainly focusing on defense and offense and what we can hit them in the mouth with since we are a wing team.
Okay, well, excellent. Well, I appreciate your time, and I wish you the best of luck on Friday.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, you got it.
You too.
All right, that was number 12, Gabriel Nesperos, the running back for Riverbank High School. Had a good preseason, so we'll see how he does Friday night against Calaveras. The next young man I spoke to is a sophomore running back and defensive end, number 22, Gabriel Sandoval. Let's see what he had to say. All right, I'm with the sophomore running back and defensive end, number 22, Gabriel Sandoval. Gabriel, congratulations, 3-0 to start off the season. What's been working so far this season for have you guys start off with such a fast start?
Thank you. It's just our team has to stay disciplined. It's just a lot of hard work at practice. We just put in that grind all summer too. Our coach has been on us. He's just why we want this season to go well, because Riverbank's known for losing, and we want to change it starting this year.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. So you guys are finally coming home. You've been on the road the first 3 games. What's it feel like to finally go, okay, we got a home game, family's going to come out to the home game, and then now you got a team like Calaveras coming in. What's the feeling like amongst all your teammates and stuff? You guys excited?
Definitely excited. It's cool. First opening, we're going to have a little competition, but if we put in the hard work, I feel like we're going to come on top.
Okay.
Yep.
And then any particular area of focus that you've been focusing on this week to say, hey, for this Friday, I got to fill in I got to do this, or anything that you've been focusing on?
Just defense mostly.
Okay.
I feel like on offense we have that down, but we just need to stop their runs. That's mostly what it is.
Okay. Well, I wish you the best of luck on Friday. We'll see you out there.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, that was number 22, Gabriel Sandoval. He's a running back and a defensive end, a young sophomore that's having a good season thus far. The last athlete I spoke to is a senior. He's an offensive and defensive lineman, number 58, Randall Freitas. And let's see what Randall had to say. All right, I'm with senior offensive lineman, defensive lineman, number 58, Randall Freitas. Randall, nice to meet you. Congratulations. 3-0 start, big fast start for Riverbank. What would you attribute the success for such a fast start? What have you guys been doing that's been working?
I think our teamwork has really come together, and offensively we've been able to move the ball. Defensively, when we've been able to stop it.
Yeah, you've been scoring a lot of points the past couple of games, so whatever it is, it's been working.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how you're feeling about Friday. Now you got the first home game, first Motherlode League game, and then you got a team like Calaveras coming in to play you. What's the feeling like?
I feel nervous, but I feel very excited because our team has evolved. It has become better than it has before.
Sure. Well, that's a good thing. You guys are moving definitely in the right direction. We like to see that. Is there any area of focus this week that you're like, hey, if there's one thing I'm going to work on this week to help us win on Friday, it's...
I think it's just doing our jobs on offense, just getting our guys, getting our blocks, and staying on them.
Okay. All right, well, you heard it, folks. Number 58, Randall Freitas. I wish you the best of luck on Friday night.
Thank you, sir.
All right, you got it. Nice to meet you. All right, so that was number 58, senior O-lineman, D-lineman, Randall Freitas. We'll see how he does on Friday night. All right, Coach, so we call this next segment From Around the League. Obviously, we talked about the Calaveras Argonaut game. Calaveras was victorious 49-10. Tonight, Calaveras is on the road to play Riverbank in their first Motherlode League contest. Big Valley Christian out of Modesto was on a bye week last week. Tonight, Big Valley is at River Islands. That should be an interesting game to see what happens there. Bret Hart also was on a bye week last week. Tonight, Somerville comes into town, that's going to be a pretty tough game. Somerville, Bret Hart. Somerville is a very good football team. They're coming down to Angels camp for that game. Linden was victorious 42-10 over Center. Tonight, Linden is actually on a bye, so they do not play anybody. River Islands was on a bye last week. Obviously, I mentioned Big Valley will be going over to Lathrop to play River Islands. Riverbank last week beat San Juan 47-0. Tonight, Calaveras going into Riverbank. let's talk a little bit about that, Coach, because Riverbank is now 3-0. Mm-hmm. They've been putting up points. They went up to San Francisco and beat a team like 54-0. They beat San Juan 47-0. At 3-0, you guys are 3-1, going down to Riverbank, start of league play. Don't know a whole lot about them. There's not a lot of history between Riverbank and Calaveras. Obviously, playing a team that hasn't lost yet and has got a little bit of taste of winning. That's good. You got to get your guys prepared for that.
Absolutely. I mean, we're playing a team that's 3-0. That's how we're treating it. They're 3-0. They've won 2 games big, and they haven't given up a single point all year long. So it sounds like stingy defense. We obviously we have some film on them. I mean they push the ball, they run the ball, they gain yards every play, and not only that, but they're playing their first home game as well. We are their first home game, so there's going to be some excitement, I think, in the stands there, and so I think we got a test ahead of us. We have a challenge,
and we had some correspondence early in the year from Coach Pirillo about tied for the longest tenured coach in his 4th year. They've struggled predominantly over the last several years, and so I can imagine having the first home game being 3-0 and then being in a new league. That community's got to be excited about that.
Got to be fired up.
Yeah.
I mean, what more could you ask for?
Yeah.
Going into your first league game at home. I mean, it sounds like Coach Pirillo's got those guys ready to roll, man.
It'll be a fun and exciting game. Mm-hmm. Game of the week, by the way, on KVGC Radio. So for those who can't make the trip, be sure to tune in 1340 and 96.5 KVGC Radio. Yours truly will bring you all the play-by-play action of that first Motherlode League game between Riverbank and Calaveras High School. Somerville was on a bye last week, and of course Somerville today will go into Angels camp to play Bret Hart. Overall, in the Motherlode League standings going into league play, Somerville is 3-0. Riverbank is 3-0, as we mentioned. Calaveras is 3-1. Linden is 3-1. Big Valley Christian is 2-1. River Islands is 1-2, and Bret Hart is 0-3. And before I forget, I want to make sure I send a big thank you to Guy Dossie, the sports editor of the Calaveras Enterprise and the CalaverasEnterprise.com for the statistics. He's been a fantastic help. He texts me at halftime during the game when I'm calling the radio and give me stats of where we are this far at halftime. So such and such has so many yards so far and all that good stuff. And so for those of you that are Calaveras faithful, go to CalaverasEnterprise.com, subscribe, get the paper, get all the online. He takes pictures, he does stats, he does a fantastic job of all the local Calaveras sports. You definitely will thank yourself if you've got a young person that's involved in athletics in Calaveras County to be a part of that.
Agreed. I don't think we could ask for a better sports editor than him. He's so engaged and involved, and he just he wants good. He wants wins. He wants you.
You can tell he loves what he does.
He's into it, man.
He loves what he does. In other games around the area, obviously Argonaut was lost to Calaveras 49-10. But tonight Argonaut also starts a new league play in their Sierra Valley Conference. They'll be at home against El Dorado. Amador was on a bye last week, but tonight Amador is at home against Rosemont. And Sonora was on a bye last week, but tonight Sonora will open up TVL play at Escalon, which I'm sure will be a very well-fought battle game there, Sonora at Escalon. So before we move on to the next segment, let's hear once again from one of our sponsors. MRM Stone has over 1,000 natural stone selections, fabrication services, and delivery available. With over 60 years of natural stone sales experience, we stock and sell natural stone thin veneer, flagstone, boulders, pavers, retaining wall block, structural block, cobble, pea gravel, mulch, and the tools necessary to complete your project. Our inside and outside sales staff is eager to help with your landscape or masonry project. Stop on by 2173 Highway 12 in Valley Springs, or go to mrmstone.com or give us a call 209-763-5761. That's 209-763-5761. MRM Stone, your masonry and landscape stone supplier. Treats General Store in San Andreas, California is a proud sponsor of Calaveras football and the Let's Talk Football with Coach Val podcast. Treats General Store has everything you need from groceries, meat, liquors, and hardware. Treats General Store since 1852. All right, so welcome back. And so this next segment we like to call This Week in Practice. So, Coach, tell us how to go this week. What does Riverbank run? What do they look like offensively, defensively? Is there a key player that, the fans should be aware of? How to go?
Yeah, they Riverbank, again, man, we have 2 films on them, and they've scored a lot of points, man. A lot of points in both films. Looks like their O-line gets off the ball very well. They got some good running backs. Got one in particular very fast. I think he's number 6. You know me, I don't pay attention to numbers a whole bunch, but he looked like, if he gets out in the open, he could be gone. Defensively, typical 4-4. And we may see a little something different. We'll see, but yeah. I mean, everything that we've seen. They're a good football team. They're moving the ball down the field. They're stopping the other team. Decent size up front. So yeah, I mean, I think we got our work cut out for us. The guys this week had a pretty good week of practice. We've kind of fixed some things. We've worked on a couple of things, and hopefully it shows up tonight. But I'm happy with our week of practice. Like I said, our guys, they want to win. And they know that they got to work for it. It just doesn't it's not going to happen. We got to work all week long. We got to make sure we're mistake free come game day.
You bet.
And so I think they all bought in again another week. So we'll see how it goes tonight.
How are you dealing with? I mean, let's face it. Even at the varsity level at the high school, you're dealing with 17 and 18-year-old young men. And after a game like last week, a 49-10 big win over Argo. How are you dealing with the, hey, let's refocus and let's get back to work and not be so much on cloud 9 and all that? How are you dealing with that dynamic?
It's not hard. We came in Monday and hey man, this is some things that went right. Here's some good plays. Here's a couple of plays that we need work on, and hey, we got here's the number of stickers you guys are getting. Okay, that game's over. Move on. You can't get too high, you can't get too low in this game, and great win. Think about the things you did right. Try to do those things again. But that game's over, and our team is they're mature enough to understand that. They know that, you hold on to that game and you're going to get beat the next, and
right.
That's not going to work. So,
right.
So yeah, I think, from what I can see, all the players are ready to go. They worked, like I said, they worked hard this week, and we're not talking about the win we had last week. We're talking about how we're going to go win this week.
Excellent. I always felt like it's an interesting dynamic because, we always called it short memory. You got to have a short memory to play football. If it doesn't go your way and you lose a football game, you got to have a short memory because you got to get back to work and be ready to go the next week. And then conversely, if you win a football game and you're feeling pretty good about yourself, you got to have a short memory. Forget about that because you got a new opponent and you got work to do the next week. So it's an interesting dynamic in that regardless of what happens, we got to turn the page.
Yeah, no, exactly. I agree.
Okay, so everybody's healthy, everybody's good, no injuries to report, anything like that.
Nope, everybody's good. Man, we got out of the last game with 0 injuries, so pretty happy about that. And yeah, like I said, man, everybody, the flu bug's been going around, but luckily for us, everyone's there this week, so everybody's on the chart to play. You know
Good.
what I mean? Yeah.
Good. Excellent. I think when you're going into, you finish preseason 3-1 and then now going into league play healthy and ready to go, that's got to be if I would have told you, hey, in the beginning of league play, you'll be 3-1, everybody be healthy. Are you good with that? I think I'll take that every day of the week.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
Okay, excellent. So any last words about this week in practice and the team before I move on to how to listen on KVGC?
No, I think I'm looking forward to going down to Riverbank. Never played there before. Never coached there. Looking forward to going down there and I feel like it's going to be a fun, exciting game.
Excellent. Yeah, I can't wait. First Motherlode League game in the new Motherlode League. 2 winning teams, 3-0 and 3-1. Should be exciting. Can't wait to call it on the radio for you guys. Should be exciting. Speaking of radio, great segue. How to listen on Friday night. You can tune in to 1340 or 96.5 KVGC Radio. You can go to kvgcradio.com and listen in that way. You can download the KVGC Radio app. Click on the oldies button. That gets you in all year long to live Calaveras play-by-play football. Yours truly will bring you all the highlights and the scores from around the league. It's a great way to spend your Friday night. If you can get to the game, come down to the game, bring your phone with you, download the app, and listen to the game and watch the game all at the same time. If you can't make it to the game, download the app, listen to the radio. It's a fun way to spend a Friday evening. So that's how you want to listen in to KVGC Radio, to listen to the game. If you're down in Riverbank and you're listening to this podcast, hey, tell your family, tell your friends. If they can't make it to the game, tune in. That's how they're going to listen into the Riverbank team as well. So have them tune in as well. So with that being said, we're at the part of this podcast, Coach, where I've got a few things I got to get off my chest, as you know. I'm a stressed out guy. Sometimes I got stuff I just got to let out. So give me a minute.
The floor is yours.
All right, boys. I want to talk to you about discipline. Discipline is doing what you have to do, not what you want to do. This is developed by repetition, doing things over and over and over until they just become habit. The difference between winning football teams and championship football teams is championship football teams have discipline. They perform the same duties with the same tenacity each and every week, regardless of who they play. This discipline creates consistency. This self-control of your own actions gives you power. Each and every game from here on out, the Motherlode League Championship is up for grabs. How bad do you want it? How hard are you willing to work? How far will you go to help your teammates, your brothers? Will you be willing to say no to the easy in pursuit for what's difficult? If football were easy, everyone would do it. But it's not easy. It's hard. You have volunteered to accept the challenge of this difficulty because you are special. Tonight, when you take that field, remember how special you are. You represent yourselves, your team, your school, your community, and your family. When you do represent tonight with discipline. Calaveras Red Hawk football. Let's go! That felt good.
Well done.
That felt good. Had to get that off my chest. It's good sometimes to just talk about it.
Hey, discipline, it's not brought up very often. Every good football team's disciplined. We talk about it, the lack of mistakes, and keeping your composure, discipline's key, and almost anything really in life.
It's hard. It's difficult, and it's not easy to obtain.
Yeah.
But if you can get it, it's well worth it.
Yep.
All right, folks. Well, hey, we're just about out of time. I want to thank you out there for listening. Thanks to Coach Manny Mossa for taking the time to come out and do this. Good luck tonight, Coach.
Thank you.
And if you're enjoying this podcast, please follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Let's Talk Football with Coach Val. And be sure to share the page with all your followers and friends. You can now text the show a message under the Send Us a Text Message link in the podcast page you're using. And, of course, you can always shoot us an email at gilbertvaltierra@gmail.com. Be sure to tune in every Friday night at 7 p.m. by downloading the KVGC radio app and clicking on the oldies button if you want to hear the live action of Friday Night Football. You can always listen to a brand new episode of Let's Talk Football with Coach Val every Friday morning to get the latest news, scores, and happenings of the Motherlode League and surrounding area football every week during the football season. Until next time, we are out. And it's intercepted. It's intercepted by number 22. That's Clifton. He's got the left edge. Turns on the Jets. Still on his feet. Touchdown, Calaveras. What a play. Up to a running back. That's Ferrante over to the right side. He comes back up the middle. He's got room. One man to beat. He turns on the Jets. There he goes. Touchdown, Calaveras. What a play.